to introduce to you Lucie Slavíková-Boucher. Lucie is going to introduce us to the topic of coalition as a resource in heritage language education. She is the founder and the chairwoman of the Czech Schools Without Borders organization. She co-created its educational program, initiated a number of legislative changes to gain official recognition for education provided by community language schools, which were successfully incorporated into the Education Act in cooperation with the Ministry of Education of the Czech Republic. Despite the demands of her medical career, she's very much engaged into the bilingual education and supporting heritage language education. And she's been in the field with this project for more than 20 years. And she's also privately a mother of 2 multilingual children, and she hopes to motivate other parents to support Czech language learning in their own children, in their own families. So I will stop sharing and we can begin.
So hello to everybody. Thank you for the introduction. I think that everything was already said. So hopefully I will have something to add to what you already presented. So I'm just sharing my screen. Can you see it? Yes. Yes. So I will leave it this way because it helps me to orient myself better in the topic. So thank you very much for the invitation. It's an honor to be here because I think you already talked about a lot. I can present you today, and it's my pleasure to present you what we've done in Czech language schools abroad all together. So, and it might be an inspiration for others if you haven't already started the same or almost the same thing. So I will be talking about the Czech School Without Borders organization and the Czech schools around the world in general. And we'll try to see how a number of organizations might be useful and a network beneficial to all, even if you all see already with this conference that, of course, a network is crucial for our work abroad, even across the languages. So just a little bit about our beginning. So we'll be talking about the past of the organization, the history, the present, the purpose of the organization, possibilities of action, because I think that our situations abroad are really similar across the languages, and the impact of such an organization of our work. So everything started in Paris in 2003, and it started a little bit before with my own children. As you already said, I have 2 children, 9, now very much grown up, but at that time they were little. And I understood that with them growing in a bilingual, as my husband is French, I understood that the bilingual education is extremely hard, and that if without an outside help, it might not work. So it just happened that I had the possibility to become a president of a, it was offered to me. Nobody wanted to do it, that's why. A small cultural association linked to the Czech Cultural Center in Paris. And I started, so I took this opportunity and started the association, and started the first Czech school without borders. And I think it's you would agree that the non-profit organizations are really the easiest way to run a heritage language school abroad. And even countries like, for example, the one I know the best, France, which does have a state-run educational system abroad, and it is something that works really well. Even France is pleased or welcomes to cooperate with smaller non-profit organization abroad, because even a country like France cannot cover the whole world with a state or country-run educational system. So in Paris, we started little with a small group of parents and their children. Out of 4 children at that time, 2 were mine, but the group grew very quickly. And as the project wasn't designed locally, it was foreseen for Czech schools or Czechs abroad in general. So its creation started or has launched a chain reaction of creation of other schools abroad based on the same principle as Paris. So as you can see, so this was Paris in 2013 and 2023. The number of students has doubled since 2013, but I don't think it will double in 10 more years. I think that the number will be similar. This is just to for you to see the whole network of Czech schools around the world. From the first Czech school without borders in Paris, we have over, we as Czechs in general, 130 or 140 schools around the world with more than 4,000 students. And we try to work all together. Out of these 130 or 140 schools, there are 8 Czech schools without borders located in Europe, and these 8 schools are the oldest ones, and they work more closely together because they know each other from the beginning, when we were a small group. And so as they are the oldest, we might say that everything is tested there and then make available for others. And just for you to get a complete information about the schools, I would say for sure Czech School Without Borders, this is how we teach, or this is the age group we teach to. So we start very early, and maybe you already talked about this here. The age of 18 months is a perfect age to start a language group with parents, which on one side, it helps the children to see that the weird language talked by one parent is something less weird and even talked by somebody who has authority, like a teacher in a language group. And also it helps parents to make contacts, to start to live in a community, not to be left alone somewhere with the effort to to learn the Czech to the child who doesn't necessarily want to. And then there is the school age from the preparatory grade, which we call the grade 0 to 9th grade. I think in Great Britain it's something normal to start school at the age of 5, or maybe even a little bit earlier. But for us, other countries across Europe, it's not true. So we do it in our schools, and it really does help children to get used to the school rhythm, to the length of the teaching of the class of the Saturday school, and it helps to develop the vocabulary at an age where it's crucial, because then they have to start the real school, start to read, etc. So this preparatory grade is very useful. And of course, we, as you all do in your languages, we teach the Czech language and literature and the history and geography. So, and probably you do all the same. So this is about the schools, and now we are going to the organization itself and see what such a numberal organization can do. So for the beginning, I would say that a network which is related to a numberal organization represents power to talk to political or government representatives. When we started with Paris, and I had an opportunity to talk to some representatives in early 2000s, nobody was even thinking about a systemic way of teaching the Czech language abroad. It simply didn't exist, and it wasn't planned. Then, as we started the network, we realized that we needed, besides the network, we needed somebody just in front to be seen and to be considered as a partner, as a, not political, but as a partner. So that's why we created this organization in Prague in 2009, and the organization was designed to represent Czech schools around the world in general, to represent their needs, to represent what they need, what they can bring to the country of origin as well. And also, in more broadly, it was designed, but it wasn't the initial thought. It was designed to represent the new Czech diaspora, because the new Czech diaspora, so the Czechs who went abroad after 1989, they're different. Of course, they're different from the ones who immigrated at the time of communism. So this Czechs, suddenly the country was open, the people could travel, people could vote, even if it's still quite complicated. People could have a citizenship, and suddenly it made sense to teach the language to their children. And we are not the only organization which gathered Czechs Czechs abroad. But we are an organization which work with more with a large public, general public, because we have children, we have parents, we have grandparents, and we have also students who do internships in our schools. So this is different, for example, from other organizations, such, I will mention only one, scientists, Czech scientists abroad, who are very active, do annual conferences, but address more just or mainly scientists. So our organization talks to more general public. And our experience and our shared experience, and then when I'm looking at Jana here from London, our shared experience, which might be gathered from as a result of work of local associations of Czech schools, for example, like in Great Britain. So our experience made us to talk, as I said, to representatives, and we were able to change or to initiate some change in laws, mainly those which are related to either attending the mandatory school abroad and in Czech Republic, or going or trying to go back from abroad to the Czech Republic when you already started for children a mandatory school somewhere else. So these are changes that we were able to initiate and to follow through. But before this, we were also able to, and this was extremely important because, as I said at the beginning, we were a network. Then we were a head of the network based in Prague, so more visible, but still the schools, Czech schools, didn't mean really something to the Czech educational system. It was always about, or you just play in Czech, oh, it's really nice, but you just play. So we tried to show that we just don't play in our schools, and this is and that is something really serious. So in 2010, we wrote an educational program and submitted it to the Ministry of Education in Czech Republic, and we succeeded to have the certification. And so it was the base to start to really be part of the national educational system. In this same year, we had a public hearing in the Senate, and our request was to incorporate Czech schools around the world, like the Czech Schools Without Borders, into the law. So to do something that it's really counted on these schools. It's not something that happens abroad and it doesn't concern us, but it's something that is part of our educational system. And also the children are part of the educational system. So it was a huge step. And the next step was to get the certification, or we were able in this school year, which is mentioned in my presentation, we were able, the first school signed a contract with Ministry of National Education, and which meant that the school was certified and the children could just go back to the country with our certification and not to lose any school year, not to have to prove that they speak Czech, they master the level of their school age Czech and history, geography, and literature. And the final step, and probably we'll see that in the future we will have to do some more steps, but for now the final step was the regular financial support from the Czech Republic for the certified schools. And this was important. Not everybody abroad is certified, and I always say that in a sense, it doesn't matter. What matters is that we teach the language, and we still have children who want to learn, even if it's not at the highest level. But the certified schools teach or work as the schools in Czech Republic, of course, in just the Czech language, history, and geography, and they get the financial support, which is not a grant money. It's just a financial support calculated as for a Czech school in Czech Republic. And just for you to see, there are 15 certified schools abroad out of these 140, but it's still something. And of course, this legal changes will evolve because the situation of Czechs abroad evolves all the time. So we'll probably see difficulties with or we are seeing it already, difficulties to get to the Czech universities or get easily a certification of the education the children could get abroad and then coming back to the Czech Republic. But so this legal work or this lobbying work never stops. But it's still something is done, but not everything, and it will never be done completely. So back to what organization like ours could do. So we also help to start new schools. So either we help people, because the schools, and I think it's in all heritage languages, the schools start with 1-2 parents who want their children speak the language abroad. So always from the bottom up, and so we try to help them. And because of the shared experience, it's much easier to start a Czech school abroad nowadays. When we started 20 years ago, we did a lot of errors, and the new ones can just jump over our errors, take advantage of all our experience, and gain several years of effort and make things better more quickly. We also help already existed schools, so with maintaining them, improving them, helping them to develop their activities and what they do in general. So, and the experience of others, it's really important here because the situation is always very similar. So we can all learn from others, and it helps us. Just back to the map, just to say that almost all the schools which are mentioned here at some point were in contact with our umbrella organization, either to start the school or get it better, or they take advantage of what we offer as education for teachers, or they participate in projects we try to initiate for, in general, Czech schools around the world. So education, teachers. We do an annual conference in Prague, already 15 editions. And as we know what happens in general in Czech schools abroad, we try to aim really the topics we talk about during the conference. And so we can make our work better outside the country. We try to get involved the specialists, the linguists, and we even try to make evolve the way the Czech language is taught in Czech Republic in a traditional way, because our experience can really bring something to this in the Czech Republic. We also, our conferences are open to all, and we see more and more of, for example, PhD students who attend the conference, because inevitably our conference is aimed at multilingualism, and this is something which became an important topic for everybody, because not only because everybody travels, but because also actual situation in Europe, political situation, Europe, world. So we have more and more of, for example, PhD students coming to the conference, and we also, and Jana would confirm, even if it's becoming complicated in the Great Britain, we also have students from Czech universities doing an internship in our schools, and it's a bilateral positive situation, because they learn how to work with multilingual children and how to work with multilingual families, which is the key activity we have. But they also help us to run the schools, because it's difficult to have enough teachers in general. So it's a win-win situation for both. And we also have university teachers coming to our schools to see how it works and how things can change in Czech Republic. Mainly, we had several in Paris, how things could change in the Czech Republic, welcoming the foreigners and teaching the language to foreign children who are in a difficult situation. So this is education. And then this slide is about educational project we either initiate or we participate in, or and that's it. So the main two projects are Olympics in Czech language for students of Czech schools abroad, which is a project Ministry of National Education has its own Olympics in Czech language in the Czech Republic. Ours starts a little bit earlier in third grade, while the ministries start at 8th grade. So we prepare we offer the possibility to prepare our students to the Olympics in the Czech Republic. And but it's not the only goal of this project. Mainly it's to improve the language, or improve the ability to use the Czech by our students, because of course Olympics are more complicated than a usual textbook. So this is the one, and we already had 5 years of this Olympics, and we try also to improve it by talking to those who participated, and so we do either in-person consultation during our conference, or we have online consultation, which takes place, by the way, tomorrow, if somebody wants to attend. And this helps to see more how it fits with our Czech schools around the world. And the second big project is a translation contest from Czech to other language for our students abroad. And we try, this project has several goals. The first one is to make children read, to make them read the actual new releases, actual literature, Czech literature. We always try to have books from Czech authors. So we make them read. We make them read in Czech something modern, something new. And of course, we try to help them with this particular ability, because translation is not something, you all know that to be able to translate something which is real literature, it's not easy, and so they have to learn. We would love to have some online consultation for our young translators to see how they work, to make them improve in that field. So I'm trying to see with some students in translatology if they can help us. We'll see if it works. And then, as I said, we try to participate in others' project in collaboration with other schools. There might be a school which want to do an online historical visit of a historical place in Czech Republic. It exists, and so we offer it, or we take advantage of already something started, and suddenly you have several schools, several classes across Europe which visit the same historical place in the Czech Republic at the same time, and they can discuss. And it's something extremely interesting, because everybody lives in a different country. So the way they could see a place, or the history linked to this place, might be very different. So these connections are really interesting. And And to finish, I would like to, so this is just an overview of what we might do and what can be helped by an umbrella organization, and mainly by the shared experience, because the umbrella organization is there just to take everything in and to share it again in a different and maybe more efficient way, because it just does the summary of everything and then it just gives away again differently. So and last resource, when I was preparing this topic, there was a resource I just want to share with you, even probably you already know, and it's completely different from an umbrella organization. And I have in mind grandparents of the original, the heritage language, who can play sometimes a key role in the language education or their grandchildren abroad. When they also live abroad, they might have time. So they can take the children to the Czech school. The Czech school, attendance of this school reconnects them with the homeland. They might travel back more easily, more frequently, so they can bring their grandchildren with them and make them visit the country when the parents cannot, for they might be busy. And also they might make it up to what they didn't do with their own children, because for the Czechoslovakia or Czech Republic, we were a communist country. We couldn't travel, and very often this generation, the children didn't learn. So suddenly, the grandparents can make it up with their grandchildren, and even the grandparents we always have to think about that potentially they have more time than the parents. So even if they live in the Czech Republic, they can be the phone connection, the Zoom connection on every day or every week basis, and they can help the children to get attached to the country, to the culture. And just to close this presentation, I would just like to add that I think, and I truly believe, that the shared experience is something, but what we have, this is the best, and probably is more than money, even if we all need money abroad to be able to run our schools. But if you can benefit from others' experience, if you can avoid the previous errors, it helps you to work better with your parents. And we all know that this is pivotal in our experience, to work well with our parents. And so it helps us to see better small and bigger problems. And I would say that it makes our work more joyful. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Lucie, for really inspiring talk about how to cooperate, how to work together, how to network, and for not just obviously, or just it's not just, but not just running a school in Paris, but establishing the network that have actually supported and helped to support many of our organizations, including mine in London. But we also had comment from Ivana Roka-Kovářová in Dublin. It was a huge help to be able to draw on the experience of the first Czech school without borders when we founded our Czech school in Dublin, Ireland. And it is even more important to us now, 10 years on, to be able to share our progress, problems, worries, challenges with other schools in this network at the annual conference, and with some of them also throughout the year. It motivates us and keeps us going. And I think that's quite crucial, that it's not, of course, we were talking a lot about financial support and where we can get these resources, but the know-how and also being able to share the challenges that we face is also very crucial. So thank you, not just from all of them, but also from me personally. We had a couple of questions, so if I can start with Lela Goginava. She asked, and I suspect actually you might have probably answered, but I don't know, I'm just going to read it out. Is there cooperation among Czech schools, and if so, what type of collaboration do they engage in? And I think we probably covered the majority of it. I don't know if you want to add anything.
I would say so. I would say that just a small tip. When we do the conference, we always have a possibility for those who are there to express themselves and ask. So either give us tips for the next year, or share their problems, and so we can discuss it again or later with the ministries we work with. So this is something. So I think it really does work, our cooperation. It's open. Everybody can express himself, and at least once a year, it's really possible to talk openly about, and to even give us some homework to do for the next year.
Thank you. Now, Oksana Turkevich asked, thank you very much for the interesting information. My question is your program, which became the basis for the certification, available somewhere online or otherwise? And this is because Ukraine is just at this stage, and your experience could help us a lot. There was a bit of a discussion afterwards whether or not there is an organization that can do it, and there was a Congress of Ukrainians that apparently, but Oksana was saying that they don't have this kind of certified program that you were talking about.
In fact, the program we wrote is really the program of the Czech language as it's taught in Czech Republic. Just it's really the same thing as regarding the volume of what the children, what's the real goal, what the volume, what the children have to learn. It's not something. It doesn't cover the specificity of teaching or learning in a multilingual environment. It just talks or it just covers the volume, what they have to learn. So it's not, so I think in Ukraine, for sure, you have a national program and it just takes out the language, and this is the goal. And then I think the main problem, or it's not a problem, the main thing is to be able to teach it in a multilingual environment, and that's there. We might add something. We might discuss how to do it, how to work with all the difficulties we might have, and this is something that we could share even across the languages. But I think that what your children, if you want to have a certificate or certified program, what your children have to learn, this is the national program in Ukrainian language or other language. But then this is the method method and all the difficulties we have. And this is something we have to develop, and this is something we could share.
So Gissi was asking, is this process, the system that you have developed, has it been well documented somewhere so that, for example, other language groups who might like to become more unified in this way have a model, a coalition model that they can copy and kind of gain inspiration?
It's an interesting question. It's not written, but it probably might be, because we have a written model how to start a school. So probably why not how to start an umbrella organization? So why not? You can write to me if somebody keeps to be interested. Keeps interest in this topic, and I'll try to write something. And why not? Yes, we can of course we can share it.
Excellent. Now, what is an example of some mistakes that the new programs opening up will not make, thanks to the advice from the Czech coalition?
That you think that everything will work just by itself, that you offer a system, something which might work, and you suddenly realize that parents you work with, it doesn't work that way, and you don't get what you expect, because there's multiple parameters which influence the whole thing. So I would say, for the start, it's important to see with the parents you work with, to see their goal. If their goal is something to do something close to a real school in your mother country, or if it's something just to keep up with the language a little bit, not with much effort. And this is the first thing, because I was thinking that everybody wants their children to write, read, and be able to work in Czech language once, or to go to the university. And then you realize that it's not true. Not everybody wants it, or everybody would want it, but not at the price of the effort it costs. So this is the first thing. I think it's and then of course then it's all the problems related to the money, how to use them, how to get insurance, etc. But I think the beginning, it's really the goal of those you work with.
Gissi made earlier some comment when you were talking about lobbying, that basically the lobbying work never stops. This is something that many groups here must have experienced as well.
Exactly.
So you work now. I can see Oksana has a question.
Thank you very much. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you very much for the answer. Only one short question. Who provides this certification? It is Ministry of Education of Czech Republic, or some associations, or who is responsible for this process?
It's the ministry for the schools which are certified. So this is the Ministry of Education.
And they use a Czech Republic national program and try to see if these schools, if these learners or pupils can reach this program, and then give them certificates. Yes, like
yes.
Shortly
so
to say.
It's also an ongoing process, because when we started there wasn't almost anything at the level of ministry to see how to control or how to certify those schools, and it's it's improving all the time. So right now, our original thinking was that we will try and we will help schools to get to the level of a certified school with us, doing like a test year, one test year, teaching at the what I call a maximum level, so the level of the Czech schools in the Czech Republic, and we would help them during the school year to get everything done and everything, because it's not easy to get at this level, because it represents a lot of, at least a lot of hours of teaching and all the administrative work, etc. So it was our first original thought, and it didn't work because the Ministry of National Education really didn't want it this way. But progressively they're getting to it, and they do it. They want the schools to have certain experience before they apply for the certification. Then they come to see how it works, how the school, if the school really does everything it's supposed to do, and then they deliver the certification after a really thorough check on the site with the school abroad.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I understand.
So now we had actually two comments from Amanda Lanier. Dobrý den. I taught English in Czechia for almost 4 years and now train language teachers online and at Michigan State University. I would enjoy working with Czech teachers and heritage learners and can offer professional development across languages. So there is a comment actually to get in touch, and she has asked earlier, does someone have a list of Czech books or even collection of e-books online? I would like recommendation of some authentic stories, graphic novels, or interesting non-fiction books that are not too difficult for novice to intermediate learners. I don't know, Lucie, if you want to add anything.
I think you would be the best person to answer this, but with your library project. But I would. We work with National Pedagogical Library in Czech Republic, and they recommend us what's new, what's interesting, and we read these books, and that's, for example, what we present for the translation contest. So this would be a very good source. And by the way, if you work at the university, we started to work with some university teachers abroad, university teachers of Czech, and they work as a jury for our translation contest. So the students look at the, for example, English text translated, and so they do a little bit different work. They work more with the original Czech text, but then they're able to see how children translated it, and they can participate in this translation contest by themselves. It's quite interesting. It started in Chicago last year, in University of Chicago, and the teacher there will continue this year, and I think and I might get something involved here in Paris, so it's really interesting.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I will put information about our library, which anybody can join. We do on so you get access to ebooks via our library at Okénko in London. But Městská knihovna Praha also has, I think, about 2,000 books, which are older books, but classics available for free online. You can download anytime. But I will write some more information. And I think we had thanks from Alexana for a very informative lecture, wonderful translation. And finally, oh yeah, I think I will ask this as the final question because we're almost running out of time. So what assessments do learners of Czech usually take to show their proficiency? And sorry, my screen just moved. The Global Seal of Literacy can be a good goal to help motivate learners. Heritage learners need to show intermediate, mid to intermediate high proficiency. So is there anything that you recommend?
This is a huge question. It would be a topic for a presentation by itself. But so our children are. It's an ongoing assessment in certified schools. It's not a test. We started to work with a specific chair in Charles University, which provides or which organizes certified language exams in Czech Republic. So this is a possibility to take a certified exam. And if you look at our pages, web pages, so you have them just right here. There is also a presentation from Seal of Biliteracy, which is interesting for English-speaking countries mainly, but not only, I would say. And so it's free. It's just free from the. So it's a video from the conference, so you can listen to it. It's something that might be interesting to for children to get some specific award for their effort, because it is extremely important to make them shine.
Thank you very much. We have a few more comments of source, or rather sources, that Gisi kindly put in about different information, essentially. So please do check the chat. And unless there is any other burning questions, I think I would like to thank Lucie for very inspiring talk, for talking to us about what she has managed to achieve in the last 20 years now. You just celebrated, I think.
Yes, we did.
And so congratulations on the anniversary as well. And again, thank you very much for the work and inspiration to others, and hopefully to not just within the Czech network, but perhaps to other languages now that might create a network just like yours.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
So now